For the first time in my life, I'm truly free to see the clear-cut forest for the poison sea, to see the waters occupy the shores of Jersey, and I feel alive.
Right, welcome back to Calfire Crackpots. Today we're going to be talking about East Coast water politics. How are you this evening?
I'm doing very good. How about you?
Shouldn't say evening, it's only 6 fucking m. I
It's been
am.
dark for an hour and a half so
It
far.
has more than an hour and a half, don't kid yourself. Here we are in the depths of, not really depths, the beginning of December. I had an SAT yesterday.
Oh, how'd it go?
Good, I think.
Oh yeah, that's how a lot of those tests go.
The best part about taking the SAT is everyone whining on Reddit afterwards.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that was fun. Got the memes in. We'll find out
Cool.
for a few more weeks.
The little breaks in between where people talk about whatever weird question prompt they had that year.
Well, no, we couldn't say anything because they had someone in the bathroom.
Oh, weird.
After the whole like SAT scandal a few years back, they've been like hella secure about it. Because like I've taken a few since that scandal, and they've never had people in the bathroom before, but they've always had more people in the hallways now to make sure like
Crazy.
you can't switch out with someone, which is what was happening.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we got some. Well, no, we're going to talk about. Shoot. So, what's the deal with the toxic dustbin that some people call the Northeast Corridor? What do we think about it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people
It's
live there.
it's a tough situation.
It's a less exciting Midwest, if you could believe such a thing.
Yeah, I think in terms of policy being made to prevent massive amounts of trash from spilling into the local river or lake or whatever water supply,
It's
there
just
really is not nearly enough.
these places are the most built up and oldest places in America, so they're gonna have some of the shittiest infrastructure, which we'll get
Yep.
into. But not much. But we got some fucking news. So we're into December. Where's the fucking snow? Why is it like a balmy 60 degrees? So this is the jet stream. This little thing, it carries wind and storms across like pretty much the whole world, but it goes through the northern US. And it's a La Nina year, so the jet stream should be up by Vancouver area. In an El Nino year, it'd be down a bit further south. But this is fine. The problem is it's slow as hell right now. And it's slow
Yeah,
as hell because of like a high pressure ridge here, I think. But it's
makes
causing it to
sense.
be super slow. Um yeah, this is a picture of what's the US. These shades here are what the probability of 1 inch of snow accumulating in the next 24 hours as of 24 hours ago. It is 0% in the entire country.
Oh, yeah. There's only a handful of places in the country that are getting below 32, and it's northern Montana,
Yeah, only
North
the
Dakota
most
area,
northern
Minnesota, and Maine.
parts. Look at Salt Lake City, 52 degrees. Denver, 63 degrees. Chicago, 41, much of the Northeast, not even going below 40. And then these are what some mountains look like. So you have a pittance of snow on some mountains in the Salt Lake City area and the Rocky Mountains, and maybe just a little bit in the Southern Sierra. But there's no snow right now, and we're in the beginning of December. That does not bode well because we need this to be a pretty wet winter.
Yeah, we've had a lot of the snow cap exhausted over this last year, and if we don't have very much to build off of for the coming year, it's not going to be very good.
Well, snowpack doesn't usually stick around in the
But
US because there's very few parts of the US that are permafrost. There's
yeah,
like maybe a couple places in Sierra Nevada, a couple in Rocky Mountains, but for the most part, all the snow is going to melt by the late summer, and then it's all supposed to come back. But
supposed to.
yeah, we've had a pretty shit water year 2 years in a row, and we need something that's at least a little bit above normal to make things good. We'll see. We will definitely see.
Yep.
But that's about all we're doing now. Also, an unfortunate event that was this week. Roe v. Wade v. 6-3 majority. So
Yup.
yeah, so I think it was originally Mississippi, but after fucking Amy Coney Barre got passed and Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, so the Supreme Court is a 6-3 conservative majority. And I just want to go off on a quick tangent here. Stephen Breyer is old.
He's
Like
old. He also is showing signs of breaking from precedent.
he really does need to retire before Joe Biden's term ends. Because if it becomes a 7-2 majority, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's really not good. Um, so anyway, Roe v. Wade was struck down a Texas abortion law, which said that Texas could restrict any any abortion regardless of date and circumstance. The Supreme Court struck it down, saying that all women in the United States had a right to an abortion, but the time that's what states were left to figure out. Most states, the most liberal states, I'm sorry, many liberal states and even some red states have before fetal viability, the redder you go, the more restrictive you go. So Texas has up until 6 weeks as of September 1st.
6 weeks is ridiculous. Let me just say,
6 weeks, most people don't even know they're pregnant.
That's what I'm saying. It's most people don't even know until about 8 weeks.
Yeah. And that's the point. Once there was a 6-3 majority, because three of them, I believe Amy Coney Barre, Brett Kavanaugh, and I forget the third one. Was it Neil Gorsuch, who was also appointed by Trump? Yeah, so those three were appointed by Trump, which literally has never happened before. He got lucky. And super big impact on the court in general. And all of these states were like, we want to get Roe v. Wade struck down. Let's intentionally pass insanely restrictive abortion laws so it'll get to the Supreme Court, so we'll have a chance at striking it down.
That's a very common practice in a lot
Yeah.
of fields in law
It-
to deliberately stick out your hand in front of a moving car and then sue for damages.
Yeah, every party does it. And no, everyone does it. Like this is something that just happens with the Supreme Court. And if Roe v. Wade is restricted, which it is extremely likely to be, given both what I was hearing in the arguments, like it's pretty easy to tell based on just how the justices like respond to people speaking. So it's like it's a pretty good chance that Roe v. Wade is going to be rolled back. In terms of some states might even be able to restrict abortion altogether. If you restrict abortion, people will still do abortions. They will not be safe, they will not be legal, and they will kill people.
I think, yeah. And I also think it's going to be tough to see where precedent falls. This is a very unpredictable case because people are seeing the Supreme Court more as 9 politicians than 9 judges now. It's
Yeah.
being treated as a token of debate. And I know you can find a lot of information about Breyer right now, commenting on that, and also about how a lot of these judges aren't very tied to precedent. I know ACB is just very historically.
She was
Yeah.
shoehorned in at the 11th hour. I wouldn't describe her as a particularly qualified justice. It's just Ruth Bader Ginsburg died last summer, and they had a few months before recess where they could just railroad someone in after Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. So that's the choice they had, and they chose her. I don't know too much about her, but yeah, as you were saying, it's a political game now. It's all, ooh, are they a conservative or liberal justice? And quite often they don't even vote on party lines. The Supreme Court only overturns precedent if it believes that enough has changed in America between now and 1972 to restrict abortion. And I believe that the court has changed enough, but the country has become almost more needing of it.
Yeah. It looks like as a federal appeals court judge, ACB holded arguments or held arguments that have that had the possibility to overrule lower courts for cases on abortion, but then in a third case she decided to uphold precedent. So it seems as if her trend is towards hearing the argument
As
or
it should be.
as it should be, but that can also lead to, this situation where something that really should not be being overturned at all is being overturned.
Yeah, and the one saving grace is that people are allowed to go to different states to get an abortion, but it's not exactly the most convenient thing.
Yeah, the thing
If
is
you're
also,
working 3 jobs, traveling across the country isn't the
that's
best.
exactly what I was about to say. A lot of the people that are in the groups that want abortions and are at the most risk of being in need for abortions are also in lower income brackets, and those are probably not going to be the people that, if you were in Texas, say in Austin, can drive 8 hours to Oklahoma or even just all the way to Missouri and spend a day out from wherever they work.
Yeah, so this is a map here that shows the status of states assuming that Roe v. Wade is overturned. So Illinois, California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, New Hampshire, New York, a lot of the liberal East Coast states, they have state laws that protect the right to abortion regardless if Roe v. Wade is overturned. Um, much of the South has laws that are like literally the instant this is overturned, those pre-Roe v. Wade restrictions just go back on the books instantly.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. This is going to be one of those cases that will be handed out in June because they're definitely not going to do it anytime before their recess.
Yeah.
So we'll find out in a while, but let's just sit on our thumbs before then. So we're going to get into some cities and where water comes from. It's going to devolve into mostly making fun of them. So let's talk about Boston first. So Boston, Harvard's wicked armpit. So
Yeah.
if you've ever been to Boston, they like to say wicked a lot, and they say at any point they have. So Samna, do not enter. If you like search up Boston memes, like 99% of them are about the Boston Marathon bombing.
The remaining one, oh, what?
Yeah. It's not good.
Mm.
I also found a good meme, which was because water starts at the Quabbin Reservoir. It just started from the Quabbin, now here. It's a good one, but not too much for Boston. Just water comes off of Appalachian foothills and then comes into the city. Again, not too interesting, but the water's kind of polluted because it's coming from Appalachia, as we'll get into. But I don't know, any funny things about Boston you want to share?
Let's see. I don't know why
I
they're
never
so
been to
enamored
Boston.
with Dunkin' Donuts. If there are Bostonian viewers, could you please
Dunkin' Donuts is good though.
people in Illinois like Dunkin' Donuts too. They I think I think it's the difference in between me as a younger person saying, "Oh, Starbucks has higher quality coffee," as opposed to, the nine
Starbucks
to
has
five
higher
worker
quality
who
coffee.
just needs a coffee before work and is not really,
Okay,
you
like
know, they
I
just
don't know.
need a medium black coffee.
A lot of kids at our high school get the fucking Dunkin' Donuts, but I don't know where they live because there's like one Dunkin' Donuts near us, and like it's not at all convenient to get to.
Yeah, people who like Dunkin' Donuts tend to love Dunkin' Donuts, and people who tend to like Starbucks are just very mediocre with Starbucks.
They put nicotine in there. Nah, people who like Starbucks will go to the store and buy the Starbucks coffee mix so they don't have to like spend $8 a day on mediocre coffee.
Oh, that's actually so true.
Yeah, so Boston, they say wicked a lot. That's really my only beef with Boston because hella is the much better slang.
Is this the East Coast versus West Coast that you're getting on my nerves about all the time?
Kind of. I don't know. Hella is spread to the Midwest just a little bit.
Mm,
I don't
tiny
know.
bit.
It could very well have been me spreading it to the Midwest for all I know.
You have a very big you have a very large stimulus on the local on the
I
local
wish.
vernacular.
Yeah, Harvard's there too. Is it though? Is it in
It's
Boston?
in Cambridge. which is like close.
I can't see it on the map. That's lame. Anyway, the next city we're going to be making fun of is New York City, which is the bad end of I-80 and the actual filming set of Home Alone 2, in case you didn't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is Kevin McAllister. He's a young mischievous boy who's separated from his family, and he's headed into the Twin Towers observation deck.
Is it down the hall to the left? You got to tell me.
Oh yeah, so there's a Trump cameo in that movie.
There's
it's
a Trump
when-
cameo in Little Rascals. He was in
it's-
everything.
Yeah, it's when because he was like a New York City icon. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's like Donald Trump, like back in the 90s and 80s. Like you thought of New York City, you thought of Donald Trump. I liked him much better when he was that just weird businessman who lived there, not like a fascist president who has dementia. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's also the bad end of I-80. So there's two ends. So this is the end of I-80 that goes through Chicago, and this is the stretch that you'll find crackheads doing 120 on, so they can beat the cannonball record. Have you ever seen a cannonballer on I-80?
Oh yeah, I have. I was going on I-80 from, generic hometown Illinois to generic former hometown New Jersey, and
Very nice.
we saw this big group of people that all had like really heavily modded cars all going down in a line.
Okay, yeah, it's
And-
got to be like a sedan that kind of looks like a squad car that's doing like 170 in the like shoulder.
It's not visibly modded, but like you can tell that
That's the
someone
point,
definitely
yeah.
like messed around with it to like make a triple large gas tank.
Dude, like they put gas. So for those of you who don't know, cannonballers, they're people who try to get from New York City to Los Angeles in record time, completely illegally. The record time is something like 24 hours. Like an average speed of like 170 and stopped for like 20 minutes, but they have like police jammers, like police radars, scouts. Like night vision goggles.
insane.
It's really funny.
To you, Eris, and to everyone else, I just want to say the next time you're on the highway and you see someone coming up on the left or even the right and they're going incredibly fast, pay attention. There is always, without fail, a second person going just as fast and just as recklessly behind them. I don't think I've ever seen a single person, like just an odd number of people going insanely fast down the highway. It's always got to be one dude going 130 and then another dude that's probably in like a Kia Soul behind them and is just deciding that because they're going so recklessly, they can too.
No, that might be the scout. So they have people like if there's a cop up ahead and they're not moving, they'll like speed up ahead of them so they get the speeding ticket and they can keep going.
Oh, crazy.
It's like a whole community. I'd be into it if like I wasn't so scared of going fast.
The Cannonball Run meta has been changed a lot though, because the time to do it was during pandemic.
Oh, dude, like records got broken like every day, like in those first few months of the pandemic, because that was like the perfect run. And I
Mhm.
think they set the record of like 23 hours. Like that'll never happen again. Like,
There's
I
no
thi-
way.
I think that record is gonna be the one that stays.
Mhm.
Because like that's too good. I don't know. You gotta watch like some 40-minute like interviews. Those are really good.
Yeah.
So anyway, we should be talking about New York City. It gets its water from, again, reoccurring theme, Appalachia. So coming down the mountains of New York City into New Jersey. So New Jersey could like literally starve New York if it wanted to.
Yeah.
I think it should.
It should. Yeah. I'm not gonna make a remark, but yeah.
I mean, so New York, so I'm sorry, New Jersey gets like the shit end of everything that happens. Like the Supreme Court has literally decided that New York and Philadelphia have the constitutional right to have their landfills in New Jersey.
Yeah. If you go into New York from New Jersey, it looks a lot worse than going into New Jersey from New York.
It does. Yeah, it's
Go on
like,
the
oh, what am I
turnpike
doing here
and
now?
Fill out the insane ticket and oh my god.
But New York City actually has some of the most like clean water of big cities.
Yeah.
It comes from this admittedly very nice looking lake through some rapids, and then it goes into Bill de Blasio's mouth.
it all goes through Bill de Blasio.
It's
He's in
soon
the
to go
pipes.
through Eric Adams.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Um, okay, so this is controversial, but I think Philadelphia is the funniest city. Um, like actually the funniest city. Like if you hear any weird shit that happens, it was probably from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It is East Coast Chicago, like with slightly more funny people in there.
Yep.
So I'm
And
gonna show you a piece of media that I think is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So just for a bit of context, this video was made by a redditor, Y Helicopter, and it was during the election, like that week where like Trump still could have won, but not all the states were decided yet. And you know, Pennsylvania was one of the big states that hadn't been decided yet. So the meme was like, "The world is counting on you, Philadelphia. What Philadelphia is actually like." And this is the video. The music. There's this news channel in Philadelphia called Action 6 News, and if you know anyone who has ever lived in or around Philadelphia, they will know this song by heart. This is their theme song. Um, and anyway, I need to stop the share so I can share the video, but this is probably the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
yeah. And
Okay, have you seen this video?
I
I might have
oh
shown it to you
man,
like last year.
just there's a very good chance that I have seen this video, but just because of the volume of all the videos that come out of Philly, I can't guarantee it.
Okay, all right. Without further ado, here we go. Can you see it?
Let's see.
Well, can you see
Is it-
black?
It's black, yeah.
All right, cool. It's just a regular intro too.
That's
There.
it's like it's like if Cleveland was a AAA game and they added a free-for-all mode over the weekend.
What are the speakers at this place?
I've seen that one.
Yeah, I didn't know that was from Philly, but oh, yep, that tracks.
Oh yeah, that guy that ran into a train.
Oh,
Ooh.
this guy saw it. He's one of the anchors.
I can't tell you. All right. Good night.
Yep, that's what I have to say about the city of
There's
Philadelphia.
there's a very I know you've told me the joke before. The better the name of the street in Philly, the worse it is.
No, the better the neighborhood name is.
Oh,
Yeah, it's got to be the
Kensington is one of the. It might
Kensington.
be the worst
No,
part of Philly.
see, Kensington's just a street. I'm gonna give you some neighborhood names of Philadelphia real quick. For anyone who actually lives there, we're kind of that's just what we do. I kind of get it as East Coast Chicago because there's a lot of it that's really similar.
Yeah, looking at some of the photos of like the city from far away, yeah, I mean,
It's like a more funny Chicago with less gang violence.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
I'm gonna name off some like really sketchy neighborhoods.
Mhm.
West Oak Lane,
yeah, it sounds fine.
Allegheny West,
You could raise your kids there.
Strawberry Mansion.
That one sounds bad. That one sounds like projects.
um, Strawberry Mansion kind of sounds like the red light district.
Yeah,
What the hell? Nice Town?
that one's a little on the nose.
I don't know. Wyoming.
Wyoming?
Hold on, let me check. Let me just peep the street view. Oh, that's actually very nice. Okay. Anyway, so Philadelphia like floods super easily. This was during the hurricane that did like a fucking half pipe over the US and landed back in the Atlantic. Hurricane Ida, and it basically flooded all of I-76.
Hmm.
And again, it gets mostly from streams and outflows. On the it's not the Potomac. What's the river through Philadelphia?
Oh, Wyoming, Philly looks like Pilsen.
Through the what's the river called? The Fisher. Wait, the channel, the Delaware River. I'm sorry. Okay. So last city. No, not. Whoa.
You know what? Wyoming, Philly looks like Cleveland. I'm getting really strong Cleveland vibes.
I don't know. So we're gonna talk about Washington D.C., the best swamp.
Oh yeah.
But I have here a Ben Garrison cartoon.
Oh, a real treat.
Yeah, let's analyze this real quick. So, in 10 years, your children could very easily be writing an A-push DBQ with this as a source.
Oof.
Like, imagine that timeline. So we
Man.
have here Trump's swamp draining service, and I see Hillary Clinton, Andrew Cuomo,
A turtle that's used to collectively refer to the bushes.
the Bush,
Um,
FBI, mainstream media, which is a bunch of
that's
rats.
definitely Obama. Is that Cheney?
I think so.
What?
See, Ben Garrison just hates everyone besides Trump.
The Rothschilds, Pelosi, and
George Soros as a vulture.
who is the person next to Pelosi on the two-headed snake?
I think that's probably gotta be Schumer.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Bilderberg, and there's the Capitol building back there.
Yeah.
Why is Hillary Clinton all the way up front? And then
don't
the
get it.
CIA, NSA, deep state says,
Oh,
"What
and
the hell
Google,
do you think you're
Google,
doing?"
UN, and FBI are all faded into swamp. Oh, and
Ooh,
CFR.
what the hell's that?
I have no idea. I was hoping you'd know.
I don't. Okay, so
Code of Federal Regulations. What?
Ben Garrison just hates everything. I can't even tell, like, because his cartoons aren't even Republican. He just loves Trump. Like, Trump's this God King.
Yeah, it's like that Patriot Party they were promising they'd form after the 2020 election.
I really wanted them to.
I would have loved it. I would have
Okay.
loved
Because then they would have been a third party.
it would have been funny to see the half of the Republicans go to the Patriot Party and the other half that were left in the Republican Party just get absorbed into the Lincoln Party.
Lincoln Party.
Lincoln Party. We love our gay Republicans out there.
Yeah, we still needed a two-party system, but if one of them is fascist, it's not really helpful.
Yeah.
So Ben Garrison here is going to give us the three-party system whether we like it or not. He had COVID and he took ivermectin. As far as I know, he was fine.
Of course he did.
Dude, why is it always like the people who are like advocating for ivermectin get COVID, take it, and they're fine, and then like
It's
a
the
guy,
same
and then
that-
like a guy who works at like a tractor repair shop in rural Arkansas takes ivermectin and like turbo dies.
it's the same reason that drunk drivers can't die in car accidents. It's just like it's reverse irony. That's the one guy that you want to get punished for their actions and they don't.
Yeah. Washington, D.C. is also the terminus of the only place where high-speed rail works in the U.S., the Northeast Corridor.
It's the only place where it's even close to dense enough to work.
That's why I chose those 4 cities. I didn't realize that until now. That the
Hmm.
4 cities I chose were the big ones that are on the line. Yeah. Imagine like I know a friend. I know someone who lives in Washington D.C. and we have a mutual friend who lives in New York City. Like he literally like hops on the Acela. Like sometimes like hops on the Acela at like 6 a.m. Goes to see him. Gets there at like I don't know 7:30 on a good day. And then he just hangs out there, and then he comes back before like dark. Like, man, if I want to see someone like on the north side, I need to like take the whole day to get there.
If you're going to Evanston, or if you're going to like,
Don't.
yeah, if you're going to the like far north suburbs or far south suburbs, like first of all, far south suburbs, why even bother?
Yes, don't go there.
Also, far west suburbs, don't go to Naperville, and far east, Gary.
Don't go to the lake. Oh, we're talking about that east. Okay, so don't go to Gary. Don't go to South Bend. Don't go to Evanston. don't
Avoid
go
this
to-
area. Avoid the Chirac,
Yes, conflict
conflict zone.
Chirac, Illinois. Yeah, but man, I want a Chicago Acela.
Hmm.
Yeah, when I took the SAT at New Trier, another equally annoying high school, I had to leave at like 5 a.m. It
Oh my
sucked.
god.
So then we have the city with 20 years left is Miami. Miami has like 20 years left to live. Like the whole city is just completely screwed. Even if carbon emissions stop like right now, sea level rise is guaranteed enough such that Miami is like gonna become Venice.
Yeah.
Florida has like some of the worst water quality in terms of like where its cities are. So the best areas that have water quality are where pretty much no one is. So we love how enough drinking water projected for 2030 population is where there are no major cities, and then Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. We don't have them.
Yeah.
Kind of an L. Yeah, it also has super polluted water. So high and extreme are pretty much the entire state for bad water sustainability index.
Hmm.
That's no good. So we're gonna talk about water in God's country.
Oh yeah.
West Virginia has some of the worst quality water, and it looks like this sometimes.
Oh.
Like that's
Tomato
mud.
soup.
Like that is mud, and then there's tomato soup. And so percentage of occupied homes in central Appalachian states without indoor plumbing. In some of West Virginia, it is over 10%.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, like a lot of people point to homelessness in the United States as being like the cause of like overdoses. Most overdoses don't really happen well, a lot of them do. A lot of overdoses happen in God's country, Appalachia. When people are living like this, fentanyl becomes a lot more attractive. You know, there's not a whole lot of job opportunities there anymore. It's just a lot of poverty.
Yeah.
Appalachia has been the problem that no president has ever been. No, sorry, no government has ever been able to solve.
It really is
Uh,
immune to.
Yeah, the reason why they vote Republican is because the Republicans at least pretend to care about them. Like they were solid Democrat voters until Democrats started not liking coal because Democrats protected the unions, and then Republicans came in, union busted, and then coal still faded into obscurity anyway, and then here they are, no unions, no jobs, living in squalor, and with really no new skills. So it's like bordering on humanitarian crisis at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a unfortunately it's a very beautiful place, so I can definitely see its appeal. And I love how a lot of people are like, just teach the people there like how to code or something. And I'm like, yes, because the US has absolutely no use for people who know how to operate heavy machinery.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get why we have to go straight from, hey, you were mining in a coal mine. I bet you'd be a really good software engineer. Like, blue collar jobs still
We have
exist, guys.
we got plenty of software engineers.
We
We
have a
got
lot.
way too many software engineers, man. Have people do something other than software engineers.
Yeah,
Man, like I've had to look people dead in the eye and they'd come to me and be like, I want to be a software engineer. What are my chances at X school? And I'm like, dude, if you can apply as another major because like it's statistical suicide for anything with software engineering.
yeah,
Oh, that's my conspiracy theory. It's that the everyone should code movement was born out of employers getting tired of paying software engineers so much money.
yeah.
So they would flood the market. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
we got a problem.
Yes, we do. There's a lot of old infrastructure
A
in the
lot of
US.
old water infrastructure. Again, as I was saying, built up. The East Coast was the first place in the U.S. to be built up, so it has the oldest infrastructure. There are still wooden pipes that have transported water since America was a country that are still in use, and they look like this.
Yeah.
It is disgusting. And then
There's
pipe.
in the next few years, there's going to be a lot of burst pipes in the winter.
Yes. Yeah, like it is like when I saw this picture, I'm like, no way. And it's like this pipe is currently supplying water to New York City. I'm like, what? Are you for real? Yeah, so that old bridges, leaky pipes, and the money black hole, also known as the East River Tunnel. Old infrastructure is a big problem. It's hampering economic growth. It's hampering environmental action. It's hampering pretty much every good thing. If you
Yeah.
can't connect people, you can't do much else. Anything you want? Any funny stories you have about infrastructure?
Um, if you're familiar with the Chirac conflict zone, um, we have a lot of this going on right now. We have a lot of places having to be remodeled for burst pipes and then
And then
kind of never coming back because
then in,
it's
like,
such big damage.
yeah, and like Oak Park, another building gets like condemned every 4 weeks because of like some like asbestos or like a burst water pipe, like you were saying.
Yeah. And there's, oh man, we're getting to the stage of the Midwest where they're having to rebuild a lot of bridges,
Oh,
which
I-
is always very fun.
yeah, like, and a lot of it needs to be done, but like it's really popular to complain about. There's like a project. There was a project that was happening. It's pretty much done now, but they were rebuilding a bridge near us, and like this bridge was falling apart. And I'm glad they got it rebuilt. Like they didn't do the Midwest special, which is weld a plate onto a cracked beam and like come back in 10 years. They rebuilt the
Yeah.
whole thing. So that's good. The Midwest special. I have a good infrastructure story.
Oh really?
So in the 90s, I'm not gonna go super far into this because it's a long story. There was this like bridge in Appalachia. It was like a footbridge that they needed to get across a river to go to work and get out of their town. And when it broke, it was on the border between West Virginia and North Carolina. It might have been a different state, but in Appalachia, and neither state wanted to pay for it, and basically no one could get in or out of the town without wading through the river. So a resident of the town wrote to the foreign aid office of the Soviet Union.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then like the US government immediately built their bridge.
Oh my god, I
So
remember that.
they literally did the Dear Mr. Brezhnev, please rescue my people from the jackboot of capitalism.
And then immediately afterwards, the US was like, hold on. Then they just immediately started
The Red Army comes in and builds West Virginia their bridge. So a big problem that water has is it gets polluted. People don't like separating their pooping water from their drinking water. It's been a problem forever.
Yeah.
And no one can seem to figure it out. No matter how advanced humanity gets, people will never separate the pooping water from the drinking water.
It's just it seems very easy. Just don't go upstream from where you drink, but like
It's not so easy.
everyone's downstream of someone, I suppose.
So I'm gonna start with this graph right here. Oh shoot. This is industrial discharges of toxins to waterways by watershed region. So you have all of the Atlantic rivers here, which is what we're going to be talking about. It has the highest pollution level of its watershed region. A lot of these cities on there are post-industrial, meaning that they once, and especially Chicago, they once had a lot of manufacturing, but now it's, you know, very like commercial corporate economies, but you still have kind of the fallout of a lot of those places. So toxins in the soil and aquifers kind of just leaching out over time.
Yeah.
That's another reason why Philadelphia and Chicago are super similar. They both kind of have that like post-industrial vibe.
Yeah, they've got that like handful of buildings that are very nice looking and from
That they
like 10 or
turned
20 years
into
ago. And then they've got the much more like decrepit residential, like 3-panel windows kind of houses.
yeah, and they turned into studio lofts with like $1,900 rent.
And all the exposed brick. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't matter if your apartment has no insulation and is like 40 degrees in the winter. It's exposed brick. It's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, you like exposed brick, don't you? And then this other graph right here, percent of impaired waters. The East Coast, it's above 25%. And the whole of Lake Michigan is what you would call impaired water.
Yeah.
Yes,
People sure did love dumping everything into the
steel
lake for a
chemicals
very
into
long
Lake
time.
Michigan. And like if it was the ocean, it wouldn't have really been a problem, but like it's not the ocean.
Yeah.
It's not as big as you can think. You can see across it. That's the other big T, is you can see across Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
I've never been on the other side of Lake Michigan.
I have. It's
Can you like see the Chicago skyline?
from certain areas you can. If it's a really clear day out, then you can.
I imagine you could probably see it even if it wasn't such a clear day.
Yeah.
Especially at night.
Oh yeah. At night it's definitely more visible.
All right. That's pollution. And that's
Yep.
the episode. So next week, we're kicking off our world tour, talking about Sea Level Rise 1, the first episode in the series of how it's made. How does sea level rise happen? It's not really how you think. It's the deep state conspiracy, which it dumps water from the sink into the ocean, which raises the
Yeah, if
level.
you run your sink long enough, you're gonna
Raise the ocean.
sink
man.
all of Palm Beach underwater.
Yeah, you're gonna sink Palm Beach and like half the world's cities. So turn off your sink, save some for the fishes.
Yeah.
All right. Anything before we go?
Shout outs. Let's see. I don't think so.
Yeah, I have none. I'm tired. I can't be tired of so much.
What?
What?
The point of
I
contention
don't know.
is how
That's it.
they act. Where you draw the line will set you free. The debate is over.